Hey guys, it is time for our first check-in. So this is day 8. It's Sunday, the second Sunday. So this is the Sunday of the second week of the 21-day challenge. We're already a week into it. We're going to do two things today. Number one, we're going to check in and see how you're doing on your goals. Take your weight or your measurements or whatever you're following, and then also look back on the week, reflect, and see how you did. You know, give yourself some congratulations for the things you did well, and then look back and say, okay, where can I improve? That's number one. We're going to talk a little more about that. And number two, we're going to talk more about goals. What a good goal is. I've been hammering the goals. A lot of the problem that I see is that people just say, oh, I want to look better or lose some weight. And it's okay. It's in the right direction. But until you really engage yourself and your brain, and you say, I want to lose 5 pounds by the end of 21 days, your brain just kind of, it's like you're shooting arrows, but instead of shooting and aiming at a target, you're just kind of pew, pew. Goal setting is a huge part of this. So we're going to go into that. We're going to go into what makes a good goal. Okay, so let's talk about your first week. How did it go? How did it go in terms of 3 things? Food, your diet plan, your exercise regimen, and any behavior or environmental modifications that you made. So now is the time to check in. So if you're following your weight, I want you to weigh yourself today. Try to do it again at the same time every week. Stand in front of that mirror. Look at your image goals. See, can you see any difference? And to be honest, at this point after a week, you're probably not going to see much difference. If somebody told me they lost 10 pounds in 1 week, I'd want to know which arm they cut off. You're not going to see a lot of difference in the first week. If you lost a pound, a couple pounds, that's probably good. If you lost 5 pounds, it's probably water. That's a lot of weight to lose in a week. But for some people, that still may happen in the beginning. So I don't want you to focus too much on the numbers. I want you more to get in the habit of checking in every week and seeing how things are going. It's going to take more time, more like 3 weeks, a month, to really be able to look back and to say, okay, now is what I'm doing working. So mainly what we're talking about is, how did it go? When it came to your diet, was it things that you found that were realistic for you to stick to, or were you just dying and you were too much deprivation, or you're starving yourself and it just isn't going to work? I would encourage you to do things that work for you, things that you know are going to work long term. Leave that crash diet, deprivation, starvation stuff behind, because it doesn't work long term. So how did that go? So again, to check back into our goals, image-wise, how are you doing? Look, do stuff in the mirror. For those of you that are taking pictures, which I strongly encourage, take another picture today. Again, you may not see a lot of change in a week. You're really not going to see that until over a period of months, really. 3 months you should definitely see a difference if what you're doing is working. So the image stuff, take a look at your belt notch. I did have someone I worked with who lost an inch or 2 on his waist initially every week. So it is possible that you have those changes, and that feels really good when you are making that stuff. But again, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong if you're not feeling that. I do want you to weigh yourself, calculate your BMI using that calculator that I put on there, and then check your waist. And then 3, a fitness goal. Now I don't run the mile every week to see how I'm going, but it is helpful to know, just, if you're swimming, how many laps can you do? And as you get into it more, do you notice maybe you can swim a little longer, or your laps are going quicker? Really try to pay attention, even if you don't do a timed 1 mile or whatever your fitness goal may be. Kind of pay attention to that as well. I would do a fitness goal check-in more like once a month. So I do think it's worthwhile to go ahead and run that mile once a month and see what kind of number you can get. Every week might be a bit much. So that's our check-in. We're going to talk a little bit about goals in just a second. Okay, so now I want you to plan for the week ahead. So again, starting from your experience, what went well this week, okay? And look at the things that went well. Look at the personal accomplishments that you made. And pause right now and take a moment to congratulate yourself for all of the good things that you did. Most people, in my experience, there's tons of small victories, but we focus on what we would call the failures. I want to get past that mentality. I want to focus more on the successes. Build yourself up, because in reality, you are making good decisions. Most people, some people don't, but most of you guys really are doing things that are hard, that you're making an effort to do. You really are taking a step in the next direction of a healthier and really happier life, and you should be congratulated for that. We want to build you up. Now, in terms of failure, I don't look at it as failure. We look at it as feedback. So if you tried a certain diet last week with a bunch of salads and it just didn't work and you weren't full and you didn't like it, let's not think, don't take that like there's something wrong with you, that you can't be some skinny bitch that just eats salads all day. Take that as feedback. That doesn't work for you. You're going to have to find something else. Maybe you can do a salad, but you also need a little half sandwich on the side, or some soup, or something else to fill you up. Whatever it may be, let's use that as feedback. Let's just get rid of that idea of failure and just use this as feedback. So how did it go? And same thing with your exercising. How did that go? Did you figure out that, I got on the treadmill, I just couldn't go very fast, my knees hurt, that's not going to work? Good. Let's take that information your body's giving you and try something else. Maybe you need to go to elliptical, or you need to walk, or you're going too fast, or you need to go to the pool, or you need to try something different, maybe a lower speed. Or, maybe you look back and you're like, you know what, that went really well. I'm hungry for more. I'm ready to dial it up and to step it up. Put all of this stuff together, sit with it for a little bit, and then look ahead to this week and make your next plan. Now, if last week was a struggle and you feel like you're just getting on your feet to establish some habits, then I would say stick with what you're doing. Don't do too much. But if you really feel like you got that stuff under your belt and you're ready to take the next step, again, whether that be, walking one more day a week, or walking a little before work and at lunch or after, or adding one more healthy snack in there that helps you to eat a smaller dinner or a smaller lunch, go ahead and take that next step if you're ready. But it's okay too if the place where you're at is just establishing some long-term good habits, 1 week at a time. Again, think about this over a year. There's 52 weeks. Let's just say you did one habit every 2 weeks. One solid thing every 2 weeks. That's 26 good new steps in the right direction that you take in a year. Let's even say you do it once a month. That's 12. So I think it's really important to whatever step you're taking, you really get it cemented in there and you hold on to it again for the long term. This is not a sprint. This is a 3-week challenge, but I want to lay a foundation where we're really getting into the marathon. We're not sprinting. So that's my encouragement there. Let's talk about goals, okay? So something I commonly hear from people is, this is actually somebody who may or may not be in this group, but this person had lost a tremendous amount of weight, 40, 50 pounds, was over 300 pounds, got close to 300, and I said, that's great. What's your next goal? And he goes, I don't really have a goal. And I was like, well, if you're 300, is your next goal to be 290 or 240? I don't know. Yeah, I want to lose weight, but this is my analogy. Imagine you're a bow and arrow. You're an archer. Like saying, well, I want to lose weight. It's like you got your bow like this, but you're not pointing it at anything. You're just kind of like this. So if you shoot, what are the chances that you're going to hit that target? Well, maybe it's more like you're kind of in the air, as opposed to you go like this, you line up the bullseye and you fire. Yeah, maybe you're going to, maybe here's the bullseye, and you hit it here. Maybe this is the bullseye and you hit it right here. So you need to adjust a little to get closer, right? It's the same thing when it comes to your goals. So if you just say, well, I want to lose some weight, you're shooting the arrows like this. But once you say, I want to lose 5 pounds in 3 weeks, then you really take sight on that, and your brain starts asking you, not me, and not everybody else in the Facebook community, but you, how are you going to do this? How can you lose 5 pounds in 21 days? And all of a sudden your brain's going to give you answers. Well, we'd have to cut back on this eating, and we have to go exercise more. It engages you in a way that just doing this, shooting these arrows and saying, I want to lose some weight, otherwise wouldn't. I really encourage you to get a specific goal. So I'm going to talk about what makes a good goal. The classic thing is called the SMART criteria, SMART. A good goal is specific. So instead of just saying, oh, I want to lose some weight, I want to lose 5 pounds in 3 weeks. So specific. M is measurable or quantifiable. So things like weight, abdominal circumference, those things are great because you can measure them. The amount of time it takes you to run a mile, it's a number. Last time it was 10-minute mile, now it's 9-minute mile. It's easy to quantify. There's a number on that. Looking in the mirror is a little harder, right? Because you're like, well, I got some excess around my waist and I want to look, better here. It's harder to put a number on that. So that actually is not a great goal. I still encourage people to do that because of the positive reinforcement. Once you see changes, and again, taking a picture is the best way to be able to compare. It doesn't quantify like a number, but it still gives you that comparison to know that it's getting better. That's what drives people a lot. There was somebody I was working with who, her main image that she used to drive her motivation was what she looked like in a bathing suit. And she would every week look in the mirror, even every day, and just see, how am I doing? Am I meeting that goal or not? And slowly, over a period of months, she saw change. It made her feel great. It kept her going. Again, this is what good goals are about. Okay, SMART. Specific, measurable. A is attainable. Is that realistic for you? 50, 40 pounds, even 20 pounds in 21 days? I worry that's not realistic for everybody. That's why let's start at the other end. Just make it 2 pounds or 5 pounds. Give yourself a goal you know you can make. Like I've been saying, once you hit that goal, you can set another goal. It feels good to make a whole bunch of goals rather than pick a real big one and fail. Your long-term goal, I want to be ambitious. I want that to be what you really want to be long-term. But for a short-term goal, let's take a bite-sized piece. Your big hamburger. Don't shove the whole burger in your mouth. Take a bite, right? So that was attainable. S-M-A, how do you spell smart? R, relevant. So it has to be something that's meaningful to you. So, if you're not a runner and you're never going to run a marathon, and maybe it doesn't make sense for you, like if you're a weightlifter and you're trying to put on muscle, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to measure how long it takes you to run a mile. And conversely, if you're a marathon runner, I don't think your bench press is a good thing for you to follow. So make sure that your goal, whatever it is, makes sense for you. And then T is timetable. That's a big one. It's a big one. So you might say, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. And again, think about how that feels compared to when you say, I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months by April 30th. Then it's like, whoa. I got to get on it. I got to do it. It really moves you. Leaving it undefined, it's kind of like when Bush said he was going to withdraw from Iraq. Oh, withdraw from Iraq. Like, eventually. When? When are you going to, like, bam, the timetable. That's the goal. We're going to withdraw by 2008 or whatever. I'm going to hit this goal by this time. That's why people are very motivated when it comes to weddings or very events, because they've got a timetable. It spurs them to action. Summer's coming. Maybe you want to look better in a swimming suit by June 1st, May 1st, whatever. Maybe you've got a trip coming up where you're going to go to the Bahamas and you know you're going to be in a swimming suit, so you want to be better by then. Or maybe you have an event coming up. You're going to run a Tough Mudder or whatever it is. Put a timetable on. So that's the SMART criteria, S-M-A-R-T. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and a timetable. Now I added some other parts to this in the book that I want to bring up that I think are helpful too. Is it within your control? So is this something that you really can do something about? And I think for most of you doing this, yes, you can do something about losing weight. Is it a realistic goal for me to want to play basketball like LeBron James? No. I'm 5'0" nothing, 100 nothing. I will never be like LeBron James. That's not within my control. That's just not possible. But can I get in really good shape and stay in good shape? Yeah, definitely. Can I improve my time it takes me to run a mile? Definitely. Let me think. What were some of the other ones? So, is it within your control? We didn't really talk about how do you know when you've met that goal, but that's kind of like the other stuff too. Let me grab the book really quick and see if I can find these. Hang on just a second. Doing this on the fly today. There she is, my baby. This actually is a really good reference tool for me, too. Okay, we're talking about setting goals and the SMART criteria, and this in the book, for those following along at home, chapter 1. Okay, here we go. It's chapter 2 in the book. So here's my little archer guy, right? So there it is, make sure you're aiming at a specific target. Okay, is it within your control? Is it stated in the positive? So when people say, so if you state it in the negative, you would say, well, I don't want to be fat, or I don't want to be obese, or I don't want to be heavy. That doesn't motivate as well as you saying, I want to be a little trimmer, and then to go even a little farther and say, I want to lose 5 pounds of fat, or I want to lose 2 inches from my waist. See how that's in the positive, as opposed to, well, I don't want my waist to be 40 inches. Well, what do you want? Well, I want it to be 39. 1 less, stated in the positive. And then, is it bite-sized? Is it not too big? And we talked about long and short-term goals, too. So those are the 3 extras. So there you go. As you think about stuff today, I want you to think about your goals, again, in terms of image, the numbers, and your fitness goal, and really try to get a very specific thing for you to look at this week to bring it all together. All right, this is day 8. It's Sunday, the second Sunday. This is what we've talked about today. We did our check-in. I want you looking forward to this week, planning what your meals are, when you're going to exercise, and then we talked about the SMART criteria and what a good goal is. So put all that together, get on that Facebook group and share what you think about it. And Allison will be with you tomorrow to talk more about diet. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. I look forward to talking with you on the in the Facebook group.